In 1925, a man who didn't exist sold the most famous monument on Earth. And not just once, twice. The buyers paid, both, and neither one reported it to the police because they were too ashamed to admit they'd been scammed. When that man died in prison in 1947, someone wrote, "Salesman's apprentice," under occupation on his death certificate. A joke.
A joke.
The last one.
His name was Victor Lustig.
His name was Victor Lustig, and he was the greatest con man of the 20th century. 45 false names, 5 languages, dozens of passports, scams on 3 continents. He swindled Al Capone and lived. He escaped from a federal prison in Manhattan using a rope made of bedsheets, and he sold the Eiffel Tower twice. He was born on January 4th, 1890, in the town of Hostine, Bohemia, Austro-Hungarian Empire. Today, it's the Czech Republic, although even that is questionable. In 2015, Czech historian Tomáš Andel began searching for documents about Hostine's most famous native: school registers, parish registers, church records, electoral registers, archives saved from the Nazi fires. The result? Not a single confirmation that Victor Lustig ever existed. Not a single birth record. Not a single mention in school registers. We don't know who he really was. According to Alcatraz prison records, his real name was Robert Miller. But even that could be a lie. The man who sold the Eiffel Tower began by selling the world his own biography, and the world bought it. What we know. In his youth, he already used titles: Baron, Count. By 18, he had graduated from pickpocketing to card sharping in Viennese salons. True Detective Mysteries magazine would later write, "He could make a deck of cards do anything except talk." The scar on his left cheek was from a jealous lover, stabbed with a knife. He didn't hide it. He made it part of his persona. An enigmatic European aristocrat with a mark on his face. Women adored him. Men trusted him. A Secret Service agent would later write, "He was as elusive as cigarette smoke and as charming as a girl's dream." Before the Eiffel Tower, Lustig made his living on transatlantic liners. They were floating casinos for the rich. First class, champagne, 7-course dinners, a week at sea. The passengers were industrialists, bankers, heirs. They were bored. They had money. Lustig spoke 5 languages, had impeccable manners, and the face of a man you'd trust. He posed as an Austrian count, a Broadway producer, or a Viennese investor. He collected money for non-existent performances, fictitious businesses, and fictitious contracts. By the time the ship docked, the victims discovered the count had disembarked at the previous stop and that the performance didn't exist. But who could complain? They were on the open ocean. When World War I halted ocean shipping, he moved to America and began selling the Romanian box, one of the most elegant scams in the history of fraud. A mahogany box the size of a suitcase. On the front were levers, buttons, and dials. Inside, supposedly, was a mechanism that copied banknotes using radium. The buyer inserted a real $100 bill into a slot. 6 hours later, a copy emerged from another slot. A perfect copy. Because it was the real thing, Lustig had hidden several genuine bills inside beforehand. The client received 2 or 3 copies and was delighted. He bought the box for $20,000 or $30,000. He went home. He inserted a new bill. He waited 6 hours. Nothing. Another 6 hours. Nothing. The box was empty. Lustig was in another state. He sold dozens of these boxes across America. He even once scammed a sheriff in Texas, and when the sheriff realized, he gave him counterfeit money as compensation, which attracted the attention of the Secret Service. But all this was just a warm-up. The main scam awaited him in Paris. The year is 1925. Lustig is sitting in a Paris hotel room, reading a newspaper. An article about the Eiffel Tower. The tower is 36 years old, built for the 1889 World's Fair by chief engineer Gustav Eiffel, who invested 7.8 million gold francs of his own money in it. The tower was supposed to stand for 20 years and be dismantled in 1909. But it was left behind, first as a radio tower, then as a symbol. By 1925, it was rusting. 60 tons of paint were applied every 7 years. Maintenance was costing the city enormous sums. Parisians hated it. A petition signed immediately after its construction called it a barbaric colossus. Writer Guy de Maupassant called it a bony pyramid that needed to be torn down. A newspaper journalist wondered if it might be easier to sell it for scrap metal. Lustig's eyes lit up. He would sell the Eiffel Tower. He hired a forger to produce immaculate letterheads for the Ministry of Posts, Telegraphs, and Telephones, the agency responsible for government buildings. He obtained a fake ID card in the name of the Deputy Director General of this ministry. He rented a luxury suite at one of the finest hotels in Paris, the Hôtel de Crillon. Everything had to look perfect. And it did. He sent invitations to 5 of Paris's largest scrap metal dealers, a confidential meeting, a government contract, a request for complete secrecy. Any leak could cause public outrage. The invitations were on government letterhead, with watermarks, with seals. The businessmen arrived at the hotel. Lustig greeted them in an impeccable suit at a mahogany desk piled high with folders containing seals and technical drawings of the tower. Beside him, his secretary, Dan Collins, aka Tourbillon, played along silently, scribbling in a notebook with the air of a man accustomed to high offices. Lustig introduced himself as the Deputy Director General of the Ministry of Posts, Telegraphs, and Telephones. He explained the situation. The tower was costing the state treasury too much. The iron was rusting. The paint was peeling. Repairs were required every 7 years, 60 tons of paint at a time. The government, after lengthy debate, made a secret decision: sell it for scrap. The procedure must be absolutely discreet. No newspapers, no leaks. This is why you, people with an impeccable reputation, were chosen. He even organized a tour of the tower itself in a government car with a uniformed driver. He pointed out the rust on the rivets, the cracks in the concrete supports, the peeling paint. It was all real. The tower was truly falling apart. This was the genius of Lustig's method. He didn't invent entire lies. He took reality and added one fictitious element. The tower was rusting? True. The city wanted to get rid of it? True. That's what the newspapers said. The government decided to sell it? False. But after 2 truths, the third lie was swallowed automatically. During the meetings, Lustig watched. He was looking for a victim. He found one, André Poisson, an ambitious but insecure mid-level trader who dreamed of joining the Parisian business elite. Poisson is French for fish. He took the bait, but his wife was skeptical. She asked questions, too many questions. And then Lustig made the move that turned a good scam into a masterpiece. At a private meeting with Poisson, he confessed. He said he was a low-paid civil servant, that public service didn't provide him with the standard of living he was accustomed to, that he needed a small bonus, a personal thank you for the fact that the contract would go to Poisson, a bribe. Poisson instantly relaxed, because real con artists don't ask for bribes. Real civil servants do. It was this confession to corruption that convinced Poisson that everything was legal. He paid. The cost of purchasing the Eiffel Tower was about 70,000 francs, plus a personal bribe for Lustig. That same day, Lustig boarded a train to Vienna with a suitcase of cash. His partner, the American conman Robert Arthur Tourbillon, operating under the name Dan Collins, went with him. In Vienna, Lustig bought Parisian newspapers every day. He waited. There was no headline about the fraud. Not the next day, not the next week, not the next month. Poisson didn't go to the police. Shame was stronger than anger. To admit to being cheated in the purchase of the Eiffel Tower would mean becoming the laughingstock of all France. He remained silent. A month later, Lustig returned to Paris and did it all over again, with a different group of dealers, a new victim, the same scheme, the same hotel, the same forms, a second sale of the Eiffel Tower. But this time, the victim was less cooperative. The second buyer became suspicious and contacted the police. The newspapers picked up the story. Paris exploded. Lustig and Tourbillon fled across the ocean to America, using multiple passports and dozens of false identities. The French police were never able to find them. In America, Lustig continued to work. Romanian jewelry boxes, counterfeit investments, thefts from the homes of the wealthy. Once, he stole $16,000 from the desk drawer of businessman Thomas Kearns in Massachusetts, right during a visit, going up to the second floor under the pretext of using the restroom. This rude move was uncharacteristic of him and nearly cost him his freedom. Kearns immediately called the police. But the craziest American scam is the story of Al Capone. Chicago, late 20s. Lustig somehow secured a personal meeting with America's most dangerous gangster, the man who sent people to the next world for a sideways glance. Lustig came to his office, looked him in the eye, and offered to double his money in 60 days, an investment in some European project. Capone, known for his caution with outsiders, for some reason believed him. He gave him $50,000, cash, from a safe. 2 months passed. Lustig returned, but not with a profit. He placed exactly $50,000 on the table in front of Capone, down to the cent, every bill. He said, "Mr. Capone, I'm very sorry. The deal didn't work out. But here's your money, all of it." Capone was so impressed by the honesty, in his world, no one ever returned money, that he pulled $5,000 from his pocket and gave Lustig to live on. This is exactly what Lustig wanted. He never intended to double anything. He kept $50,000 in a safe deposit box for 2 months without touching a cent. It was all about tips, $5,000, and continued existence. The only man in history to cheat Al Capone and walk away on his own 2 feet. But his appetite grew, and that was his undoing, as it undoes everyone. In the early 1930s, Lustig turned to counterfeit dollars. He found a brilliant engraver and organized a large-scale operation producing counterfeit bills. The quality was so high that the counterfeits passed bank checks. The U.S. Secret Service, the agency responsible for protecting the currency, raised the alarm. The volume of counterfeits circulating around the country threatened confidence in the dollar. Lustig became the Secret Service's public enemy #1. They began hunting him. Agent Peter Rubano, heavy, stubborn, with a double chin and endless patience, had been tracking him for months. Rubano had become famous for bringing down gangster Ignacio the Wolf Lupo. And now, he wanted the same trophy. He intercepted letters. He stalked Lustig's mistresses. He bugged phones. He was narrowing down the circle. But it wasn't the police that failed Lustig. It was a woman. His lover, Billy May, revealed his location after discovering he had another woman. Jealousy proved more effective than an entire Secret Service unit. On May 10, 1935, Lustig was captured on a street corner in New York City. Agents surrounded him. "Hands up!" He looked at them, studied their faces, and said nothing. He was taken to the Federal Detention Center in Manhattan. It seemed like the end. On September 1, 1935, the Sunday before Labor Day, Lustig escaped. He made a rope out of bedsheets. He sawed through the bars. He lowered himself from a window several stories high, like an urban Tarzan. When a group of passers-by stopped and stared at the man hanging from a prison window, he pulled a rag from his pocket and began wiping the glass. Window cleaner. The onlookers lost interest. He jumped. He bowed and ran. In his cell, he left a note on his pillow, a quote from Victor Hugo's Les Misérables. He was captured 27 days later in Pittsburgh. Court, New York. 20 years. Alcatraz, a rock in the middle of San Francisco Bay, a prison from which no one had ever escaped. Lustig became prisoner #1. Not by number, but by reputation. He arrived in a suit, with polished shoes, with the posture of a man entering not a cell, but a hotel. 5 languages, impeccable manners, a smile that made the guards uneasy. The New York Times wrote, "He was not one of those phony counts who kiss hands. He was smarter." On March 11, 1947, Victor Lustig died in a federal prison in Springfield, Missouri, where he had been transferred from Alcatraz due to declining health. The cause of death was pneumonia, complicated by a brain tumor. He was 57 years old. His family concealed his death for 2 years until August 1949. On his death certificate, under occupation, someone with a dark sense of humor wrote, "Salesman's apprentice." It was the final joke in the life of a man who had built a career on jokes. He is credited with authoring the 10 Commandments of a Con Man. Among them, never look bored, never get drunk. Hint at sex, but don't pursue it if the other person isn't interested. Wait for the victim to reveal their political stance, then agree with them. The rules seem simple, but they are precisely the ones by which Lustig lived, worked, and deceived people for 30 years. Across 3 continents, under 45 identities. That's what makes this story impossible. Not that he sold the tower, but that his victims helped him do it. Poisson didn't pay because he was stupid, but because he wanted to believe that he was the chosen one, that he was trusted, that he was worthy of joining the elite. Lustig didn't deceive people. He gave them what they wanted, a sense of self-importance, and then he took everything else. The Eiffel Tower still stands. 330 meters of iron, rusting every 7 years, repainted with 60 tons of paint. 7 million visitors a year, the symbol of Paris, the symbol of France, and the only monument in the world to have been sold twice by a man who may never have existed.